Hi, I have a question. Do you suffer from the winter blues? Have you noticed that as the weather changes and the days get shorter, that you're more down in the dumps than you usually are in the better weather? This is Sandy with Mimi's Abundant Life, and I hope that this video will help you with some tips and tricks, things that work for me whenever I get in a slump, period, but especially in the winter. And I just want to let you know that I'm not any kind of doctor or anything. I was a social worker in my other life. But these tips and tricks are what works for me. You are going to have to maybe consult with your physician or a nurse or someone in your from your primary care, or do your own research and decide what works best for you. These are only suggestions of things that work for me. Doesn't mean it's going to work for you, so don't take it to heart. So without further ado, I'm going to explain what happens to me in the wintertime, and I've already noticed this happening. Well, the first thing is you just want to cozy up. It's so easy to get nice and cozy in your home, and we feel like we can just shut the door and not have to venture out until spring. But life isn't like that. And what happens with that hibernation period is we just get sucked in deeper and deeper into a slump or a rut. Okay, that's what people call it, a rut or a slump. There is something that is a little more serious. It's called seasonal affective disorder. So I don't know if anyone has that, but I mean, like I said, always confer to your doctor, okay? But I'm talking about right now just simple things to get you out of a simple rut, okay? I don't diagnose, I don't cure. I'm just telling you what works for me whenever I'm in a rut. I want to make sure that everyone understands this disclaimer. So what happens is to me is I want to stay in my house nice and cozy. I never want to leave. And I just want to be a homebody. Now, I'm a homebody person anyway. I love my home. I love to be in the house doing things. And to me, that's just a way of life. That's what I enjoy. However, when the cool weather comes and the sun starts setting earlier and earlier, especially when it starts setting in the 6 o'clock hour, I notice that I get more, not really withdrawn, but I don't want to go out as much. I get into my pajamas the minute it gets dark. Just things like that. So the last couple of years, I just try to set a tone and a routine and some ideas that work for me, and maybe they can help you too. And like I said again, anytime that you're in a rut, these tips might be helpful. So you never know. So the first thing that is so important every day is to get dressed. It's very tempting in the cool months to stay in your pajamas all day long. But I find that for me, when I get dressed, even just casual dress, it helps set the tone for the day. That I am up, I am dressed, and I'm ready to face my day, whatever that may be. Now, it's much better than staying in pajamas all day, and it can also help motivate you and make you feel like more like there is a daytime and a nighttime. And I'm going to give you an example of that. You've heard me mention many times on my channel that I was the sole primary caregiver for my mom for about the last 25 years, okay? My mom was blind when she was 67 years old. She had giant cell anemia, which you can Google it and find out what it is. It was the kind of blindness that happened suddenly. It was misdiagnosed, and it was irreversible. So she was fine up until I'd say like in her mid 80s. And then she started slowing down a little bit, and she needed a little more assistance walking around the house because she had osteoarthritis, and she had polymyalgia, which is fibromyalgia, which is located in your shoulders. So fibromyalgia is more widespread. So seeing that she was just in total darkness all the time, I'd get her up in the morning. I would, like I said, she couldn't walk that much, especially towards the end. I just barely did transfers the last couple of years with her. And I would help her stand up, make her take her deep breaths and just kind of get her blood flowing. And we did therapy together. But she needed to be transferred everywhere, like from the bed to the transport chair. Then she'd sit at the table, and then, just different things in the recliner, on the bed to a nap. Everything was a transfer. So she used to say, well, I don't go, I'm not going anywhere. It's winter. Why bother getting dressed? And I said to her, no, Mom, you have to get dressed every day. You have to have a feeling that there is daytime and nighttime. I said, when I was a baby, did you leave me in my pajamas all the time? And she says, no. I said, why did you get me dressed? And she said, because it was daytime. I said, okay, then you need to get dressed every day. So I had some real cozy long sleeve flannel and fleece loungers. Now, my mom was really short, and these were long, heavy winter nightgowns. But she had shorter ones to wear to bed because she didn't get as uncomfortable with them. And the longer ones, I never told her they were nightgowns, okay? Shh. I told her they were loungers. I said, and I used to let her, you have this color lounger, this color, that pattern, this color, that color. What color lounger would you like to put on today? And she'd think about it, and she picked out something. And at night, she basically wore the same thing, only they were like knee length. It was just easier to care for her that way when she was in bed. But had I not done that, she would have been in nightgowns 24/7 with no way to differentiate the time of day or what is to be expected. So she knew when she put that lounger on in the morning, she'd have her bed bath, and then I'd get her up and she'd get her lounger on, her long sleeve lounger, and I'd fix her hair and everything, and then we'd go have breakfast. And then she knew what was coming after that. So it's very important to get up and get dressed because it can give you a good sense of what daytime is. The other thing I find that helps in the winter, if you live in a cold climate like I do, it's tough to do, but you're going to force yourself to do this one thing. If you are physically able, now don't do anything you're not supposed to do physically, okay? If you are pretty healthy, got your doctor's okay, whatever, get bundled up and get outside no matter what the weather, okay? Except if it's raining. If it's snowing, just go open the door, stand near the door. Just stand outside, not with half your body inside. That's cheating. Stand outside in that fresh air. Try to face the sun. When you take your trash out, bundle up a little more. Linger out there a few minutes. Take a walk around your property, go get your mail. You might see somebody out, a neighbor out there in the yard shoveling snow, or maybe they're bored and they're just trying to do the same thing. And think back to when you were a child and you were in school and you had recess. Or if you were homeschooled or whatever and you played outside and you came back in. You felt revived, rejuvenated, you were in a better mood, and your brain was clear. So what I like to do is I like to bundle up and go outside. Now, I will go walking in the cold weather. For some reason, I enjoy it more than in the summer. I will bundle up with hat, scarf, gloves, boots. I got my long storm coat, and I will go for a walk. And no matter what the weather. And my mom did that to us. No matter what the weather was, we were bundled up. She had us in the carriage. We were out walking. She didn't drive, so we had to do all the errands. And then when we were old enough to play outside, it was bundle up, get outside. I'll call you when lunch is ready. And that's what we did. So don't forget to get outside and get some fresh air. Number 3. Now, I don't know if you can do this. If you can, buy flowers. Now, plants are nice. They're good to have live plants in the house. Bring some greenery into the house. So if you have plants, that's great. Try to get flowering plants if you can. If you can possibly buy fresh flowers, even if it's one sunflower, one rose, something, every other week or once a month or something. Change the water with filtered water. Put a Tylenol or an aspirin in the water. Take care of it. Change the water often. they can last over a week, 2 weeks. So you might only have to buy them like once a month, you know? So make it a point to try to bring something live and colorful and something that's fragrant into your home, and just sit there and enjoy your flowers. I try to do that as often as I can. So we're going to get on to number 4. Don't mind me, I do have notes. Call one person every day. Figure out the downtime for you. For me, since I've lost 90% of my family, downtime for me is from 2 in the afternoon to 6 p.m. So those are the times that I try to keep myself busy with things that I enjoy. I also try to take the focus off myself, although sometimes I will do videos at that time. But call one person each day around that time. Even if it's after dinner, that might be your time where, you're just tempted to just go to bed because you don't have anything else to do. It's dark, it's gloomy, you might live alone. No email, no Facebook, no texting. That doesn't count. Telephones were invented for an audible voice. Call the person up, one person every day. Somebody that, you don't know. There might be somebody out there saying, wow, that was a nice phone call I got. Have a conversation with them, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You'll be surprised how much you might actually help someone else get through the same winter blues as you. So you might want to make a schedule. And when you find, this is tip number 5, it coincides with tip number 4. Number 5, try to make a schedule. If you have a schedule and a routine and you know what to do, you know what's coming next, and you always have something to look forward to. Fill in those little gaps with things that make you happy. Ladies, you know what? You don't need to go out and get a pedicure. You got a bucket, got a dishpan, fill it up with some water and some shower gel, let it suds up, soak your feet. Soak your feet, that's one activity. When you're done with that, call a friend, that's 2 activities. Do little things like that to help fill up the time. Okay? Invite a family member or a friend over just for a cup of coffee or tea. Nobody's expecting you to make a big meal and host them for a dinner. Have good old-fashioned company. Bond with your friends and family over a cup of hot tea, flavored coffee, and just sit and talk. I think what's happened lately, over the last couple of decades, people don't do that anymore. I remember when I was a little girl, there was always someone in my house. There was always a neighbor here visiting my mother, or she was at their house having coffee. I made a pound cake. I have too much extra. This is for you and your husband and the kids. Just pop in. People used to just pop in and they were welcomed, So try to invite someone over. Live in the moment. Just sit and talk and catch up. And that could be another activity you could do maybe once a week. Pick the worst day of the week for you at the worst time, and that's the time you invite someone over. Number 7, find a cause or a charity that you support and get involved. Call them up. Don't email them. Don't text them. Find their phone number. We need human contact to keep the time going. Call them up and ask them how you can volunteer or help out with any upcoming projects. Now, if you're homebound and you're able, this might be something you can do from home. It is better if you go in person and help out that way. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with doing it remotely. Number 8 is the 3 hobby rule. And this is something that I did for my daughter when she was growing up. She had to do something cultural, something physical, and something artistic. So physical was, she was always in ballet. She did classical ballet from 2 to 18. Now that could fit into cultural also, but she also took Armenian as a second language at the Armenian church when she was growing up. And art. She loved to do art, so she took I think she was in the art club at school when she was old enough. I didn't homeschool her. I wish I had. But she was a phenomenal homeschool mom to my granddaughters. But I don't know if I could have done it. But when I think back now, I wish I had done it. But it's good to get your brain going in all different areas. Do something intellectual. Read a book, crossword puzzles, anything to get your brain going. Do something once a week to get your body going, or as often as you can. And you know what? If you have a pencil and a blank piece of paper, sit there and sketch something. Draw something, color. Try to get 3 hobbies and stick to them. Number 9 is a no-brainer. Visit your local library. There are tons of programs and they're basically free. There are book clubs, there are crocheting clubs and knitting clubs, sewing clubs, garden clubs. There are aerobics. They have, sometimes they have just classical music. They'll have speakers go in there for different things. Locate a library next to you that has the most activity that you think you would enjoy the most. Just go and walk around. See the different things. A lot of them have art on display, it's sculpture, and you could just sit and talk. You can use their computer. You can just do a little research. You can just sit there and go through some magazines. They have an array of magazines. They usually have the daily paper. So try to visit the library at least once a week. And number 10, and to me, this is the most important, attend worship services, whatever your faith is. If you do worship anything or anyone at all. For me, I worship Jesus. I go to church on Sundays. It helps set a tone for the week. It helps you differentiate weekend from weekday. It gives you a purpose. It gives you something to look forward to, a reason to get dressed up, a reason to build your relationship closer with the Lord, a reason to get out and invite someone to go to church with you. Maybe they're in the same position you're in, and church might be what they want and need. Now, here's another thing. My mom, like every day, used to just run into the next with her, especially pre-COVID. After COVID, but before that, she always knew what day it was because I was getting ready to go to church. And I'd say to her, I'm going to go to church today. Oh, yeah, that's right. Today's Sunday. Get your mind going. This is what happens on Sunday. What happens on Wednesday? I go to Bible study, or Monday, depending on the church. So get out there and visit your place of worship if you can. If not, there might be something else that you can fill up that time with. But take some time one day a week to just reflect. I try to read my Bible daily. I like to go through scripture. And I like to flip through my Bible on a daily basis and see things that I highlighted and noted over the years, different scriptures that have helped me through different times. But these are just a few ways that you can help overcome the blues, especially the winter blues. Sunshine is very important. Open up your blinds. Believe it or not, open up the windows and let the fresh air in. Yes, we're going to have the heat on. It's going to get cold, but you know what? You need to let the fresh air in and the stale air out, and it'll help revive you. So that's what I'm going to do this year for the winter blues. I hope that at some point you found something useful in this video and in these tips. And if you did, leave a comment below. Let me know that you watched the video and let me know what you think. And a thumbs up would help. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, that always helps as well. So this is Mimi with Mimi's Abundant Life. I love you. God bless you. I'll catch you in my next video.